Save My Piggies, Your Life, Your Limb, Your Story, with host Dr. John Phillips and Kim McNicholas.
I'd like to bring in now Steve. Steve is also here. He is going to talk about getting a second opinion and just how important it is. Steve, thank you so much for being here and sharing your journey and the importance of a second opinion.
Well, thank you, Kim. I'm glad to be here. I hope you can hear me.
We can.
Okay, let me start. I'm a young 73-year-old male. I had a heart attack 4.5 years ago, which came as a surprise. I wasn't expecting that. Recovered extremely fast from it, got active again, got on the healthy lifestyle. And then 2 years after that, I'm out walking and it was like somebody shot me in the calf, which I discovered was claudication. Now, all this was before I discovered you and the weight of my heart and how great you guys are. So I walked through it probably for a month, figuring maybe I just tore a muscle. Didn't get any better. Called my cardiologist because I was taking rosuvastatin, a statin drug. And he said, yeah, it could be that. Why don't you stop it for 3 weeks and we'll see what happens. So I stopped the statin for 3 weeks. Did not get any better. I called him back and he really didn't offer much. He just said, well, just keep on walking and keep in touch. I said, well, sort of funny, but okay. So I figured, well, if it's not the drug, maybe I did hurt a muscle. So I went to my orthopedic surgeon and he checked me out and he said, no, he said, your leg muscle is fine. He goes, let's do a pulse test. I said, okay. So he did it. And he says, you have a very weak pulse in your left leg. He said, I can order tests for you. I said, I'll go back to my cardiologist, but I appreciate it. So now I call my cardiologist back. He goes, well, that's good. He says, if you want, I can order some tests for you. I said, well, that may be nice, doc. Let's do that. So he did. Came back, I had a totally blocked left iliac. He said, I'm going to refer you to a vascular surgeon in our practice group. I said, okay. So 2 months later, I get an appointment with him. First words out of his mouth is, you need a fem-fem bypass. I said, okay, what is that? He explained it. Take, the blood from one side to the other. I said, what happens if the other side blocks? He goes, well, that's a good question. Never did answer it. I said, is there anything less invasive? He says, no, not for you. You need this bypass. I said, okay, I appreciate it. I said, I don't think I'll be using you. I have a sister-in-law who had a top position at Ascension Health. I asked her, I said, find me the best vascular surgeon that you're aware of within your group. She did. I went to him. He says, a wire can easily be passed through that blockage. He said, be glad you did not get to fem-fem. He then referred me to a interventional cardiologist. He got me in 9 o'clock in the morning. I walked out at 1 o'clock pain-free. That was 2.5 years ago. Then I discovered you right after I had that, and we talked a little bit. Wish I knew you before, probably would have saved me 6 months of pain. But anyway, if I did not get that second opinion, I would have had a tube running between my intestines with the possibility of blocking. So that's my story. Whenever I need a procedure now, I will always get a second opinion.
Yeah, no, I think that's critical. And for people to understand, a fem-fem bypass is where they have a tube that reroutes blood flow from one leg to another. And the issue that we have is, we tend to see those go down frequently because in many people, by the time they have this fem-fem, the legs are already mirroring each other. So there's disease in both legs. And if the disease progresses in the one leg that is feeding the other, then both are going to end up suffering. And that's going to be a problem. And so you're probably thankful, at least at this point, you're 70 years old, you're out there, you're living your life. You've only had a little puncture with a wire and a balloon going into your vessels. Just kiss it, just push that plaque aside just a little bit so you can get out and get moving. and be on your way, because you're a military guy, right?
Yes, I am, former Marine.
Thank you so much for your service. And I bet you're feeling so good. How much are you walking now?
I probably walk anywhere from 5 to 7 miles a day walking, and then I go to Planet Fitness 5 days a week for 90 minutes. I teach Wing Chun martial arts, and I just started taking up Korean sword fighting, Koryo Gumdo. So it makes my wife happy because I'm never around, but it keeps me busy.
That's fantastic. I mean, do you ever wonder if, having, the high risk factors, what if doctors had been more on the preventative side and had said, hey, you have these high risk factors. We're going to perform this ankle brachial index test or ABI test to measure between, the blood pressure in your legs versus your arms, just to see if you were on the road to plaque also building up in your legs.
No, nobody ever did, and I wasn't astute enough I didn't know about it, basically. I should have been smarter probably, but after the fact, I asked my primary care guy, I said, Doc, how come you've never done a pulse test on me or others?
Right.
And he just sort of looked at me like, don't waste my time asking these questions. We'll see you in 6 months or a year or whatever, and waved me off. So, yeah, it's a shame, but I feel great now. My interventional cardiologist did say there's a 50% chance of it reblocking in 5 years. And I said, well, what happens then? He said, don't worry about it. We'll go back in, we'll clean it up. So that made me feel a lot better than a bypass.
I love that. But also by the same token, these doctors can go in there and clean things out, clean things out, clean things out. But it's really up to the patient when it comes to peripheral artery disease to be a true partner in care and do their part in making sure they're compliant with the medications as prescribed, making sure that you're doing a regular walking program. And what we have found as well, and we'll get into it a little bit later, is, as Steve just mentioned, is getting to the gym and doing some resistance training and weightlifting and things like that to help build back the muscle, because we find with the legs, with less blood flow, your muscle kind of gets a little weak in there. And so if you're in there pushing it, your body is answering, it's building its collateral vessels and helping to do its part, right, to help keep that blood flowing down to your feet so you can remain intact.
Absolutely. And I'm not afraid to push it. People say, aren't you worried that, you could have another heart attack? I said, yeah, I may, but I'm going to enjoy it if I do. So
Thank you so much, Steve, for your story. We really appreciate you. It's amazing and very inspirational.
thank you, Kim.